Duane, how's it going?
What up,
It's
Jake?
been a while. We've been on vacations, having fun. You've been looking at purchasing properties. I've been in Europe. This is abundance.
Yes, yes, traveling the world.
I love it. I love it. I want to kind of let people know if they're listening to this because they're like, ooh, you guys are just bragging and all that shit. You know, you don't realize what I'm going through. But
Mm,
everyone that is listening to this is brilliant. They're capable. If you have an addiction, you're extraordinary. And if you've been running
absolutely.
on this broken operating system that we're going to talk about today, and that you think exhaustion is normal, and that anxiety, the state of anxiety, is just how life is, and that everything you do, you have to earn just the right to simply be. And then when you try to work really hard and do things, it always fucks life up. Well, we're here to tell you that it's a lie. It's
Mm,
actually a complete, total, soul crushing lie. You're not a victim to this old programming. And this is kind of something, Duane, I want you to get into, if you don't mind. This lie that has been meticulously programmed into us by well meaning parents, especially like middle class or lower class parents. Not saying that they're lower class, but as far as like, society, it's like you got to get the house, you got to have the two kids, you got to have, the car, the mortgage, which is funny in French, it's mortgage, which is a death penalty, a death sentence. So I think that's funny.
yeah,
But
work till death.
it's this broken code that's been taught to you, and society profits from our insecurity. And every system is designed to make us feel like we're not enough.
Mm, yeah, absolutely, bro. And just like you said, Jason and I have been able to travel the world and share this with our loved ones and be present in experiencing vacations and experiencing new areas of growth. But our lives didn't always look like that. Like him and I both come from the gutter. Like we
Yes,
come from the gutter,
literally.
bleeding.
We've both been in
Yeah,
gutters.
sleeping. I was sleeping in my car, and I'm pretty. I don't even know if Jason had a car. What
I was homeless.
well,
Yeah.
so yeah, so we come from the gutter and we picked ourselves up from nothing by the bootstraps, and we bust our ass and dove deep into a personal recovery journey that has now birthed a new life. And that's why we get to share this with you guys and want to share this with you guys, that this is capable. It's available for you as well. You're capable of transforming your life. You could be in the gutter right now. That's probably why you're listening to
Mm-hmm.
us. And there's potential for every single one of us to transform or alchemize that into something beautiful. Recovery journeys are great for turning absolute shit into gold.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that scarcity mindset or poverty mindset that I grew up with, that was just shit that was pounded into me unconsciously. If my parents had known better, they would have done better.
Mm-hmm.
If society was more awake, they would have behaved more awake. No one can behave beyond their level of consciousness.
Yeah, a hundred
And
percent.
so I was raised to worry about money. I was raised in a scarcity mindset household. I was raised where, I'll give you this money, but it's a burden. It's a hassle. I'm pissed about it. Or I'm angry I have to go to work. I'm upset I have to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that type of energy was around me a lot. And it was what I knew to bring to work when it was time for me to enter the workplace. Um, so it's difficult when my education or my experience surrounding being an adult meant this sucks. This is negative. I have to worry about this. I have to worry about this. Oh my God, a mortgage is it's literally going to kill me. This payment is going to, what if we can't make the pay? You know what I mean? So there's a, there are many, many other pathways to experiencing life, experiencing a abundance journey or recovery journey. Uh, and that's what we're going to talk to you guys about today. Jason and I have, that's why he started, with this. Hey, we just got back from vacation and we're excited to be here, because we used to live a life where that wasn't possible at all.
Never. It would never be. I want to start off doing some surgery. And I want to go in
Yep.
deep, and I know it's going to hurt a little because the truth always does. But on the other side, I believe this conversation that we're going to have today, Duane, for those that are listening, is freedom. And it's
Mm.
freedom for people that haven't felt freedom since they were a child. And if you don't mind, Duane, I want to do this little practice. I think it'll be kind of fun to start it off. And I want everybody to do this, if you don't mind. And that's put your hand on your chest. Can you feel that? There's like a rhythm under our palm, isn't there? That's our heartbeat, right? And there's something profound about the heartbeat. This is something I had to learn. I didn't earn it. It's just
Mm.
there. You didn't have to submit an application for your heart to beat. You didn't have to prove that, we were productive enough. I didn't have to be like loving enough or kind enough or successful enough. The lungs that are expanding my chest right now. In fact, this morning I got up early. You get up early too, because I know you do cardio every morning. And I was here in Santa Fe, and this morning sun is so pink and so beautiful. And it rose this morning, and it didn't look at me and be like, I'm not going to shine on you because you were an asshole last night to your partner or whatever, whatever it may be. It just does what it does. And it's the very fact that we exist means that we are worthy.
Mm.
Period. End of discussion, full stop. We are created beings by God. And whether we believe that we think we're valuable by producing, or I'm lovable when I'm perfect, I'm only safe when I'm in control, I have to control everything, or I can't rest, I can never like relax and rest and enjoy a movie because I haven't earned it yet. That's not God's voice. That's not anything that has to do with God. Because abundance is freely given. It's everywhere. It's for us
Mm.
now. And it's that voice, I believe, of our wounds. It's the voice of our programming. It's everything that we carried from our ancestors into this, into this generation. It's all the sins and the curses, and every person that we've ever dealt with in our life that's made an influence on us has probably put scarcity on us and didn't even realize it. And the world that we live in is a system designed to extract energy. It wants to take from you and then give you crumbs. And I want to hand it over to you because, and I know you know about this, but Jesus said this in Matthew 6:26. And this is such, dude, this has been really hammering me, the New Testament and Jesus' teachings. But Matthew 6:26 says this. Jesus said, look at the birds of the air. They do not
Mm.
sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. And then Jesus said this, are you not much more valuable than they? The birds didn't hustle. They didn't have imposter syndrome. They didn't wake up at 3 a.m. checking their bank account, wondering if they're enough and if there's enough in there. They just exist and they're provided for.
Yes.
Where did this worth that isn't conditional, where did this come from, do you think?
Mm. Phenomenal, bro. Phenomenal. I love that we're getting into the to the New Testament too. Um, Obviously, we're here in the United States. We're in the West. The West is founded on Judeo-Christian beliefs. One of those Judeo-Christian beliefs, I would suspect that it sprung out of the Ten Commandments, but it's way older than that. Is that there's intrinsically something sacred inside each and every one of us,
Yes.
a spirit, a soul, a God consciousness. Even the worst of us, even the child rapist, we
Mm-hmm.
can't line up outside and just execute him. Even the worst individuals still have a right to trial, still have a that same intrinsic worth inside each and every one of us. So that's a very radical idea. That might be a one of the greatest ideas in history, that there's something sacred inside of each and every one of us. You wouldn't hang out with somebody who didn't believe that. You
Mm,
wouldn't hang
yes.
out with
Right.
somebody that mistreated you like you were worthless. you
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't allow people to be around you if they didn't honor this intrinsic belief that there's something very sacred inside of each and every one of us, um, which obviously we believe, I believe, is my connection to God, is my
Yeah.
connection to
Yeah.
higher power, the inner consciousness that dwells with inside of me. Um, You know, that part of me is not subject to birth or death. That
Mm-hmm.
part of me is eternal. So eternal means timelessness, no time. That means it's forever. So I'm connected to something very big. And if that eternal consciousness is not subject to birth or death, what am I really worried about? It's like it could get pretty bad. Like it could get really bad. You could even die in this meat suit in this 3D dimension, but the consciousness will live on.
Yes,
That's going
yes.
to go that's going to go to the next experience.
That's
That's
who
going
we
to go
are.
to the
Yes.
next realm. That's who we are inside. And obviously it's very difficult if I get stuck in the thinking mind to just be in the 3D dimensional existence and worry and have scarcity and oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, what if something, and death anxiety, what if something happens to me, what if something happens to us, what if something happens to my money, my bank account, worry, worry, worry. Eckhart Tolle, one of our favorite teachers when it comes to this type of stuff, he says worry pretends to be necessary. It pretends to be necessary because it hijacks my thinking. I can't
Mm-hmm.
be in the present moment. I'm
Mm-hmm.
ping ponging around in my mind, worry, 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 worry. And then when I'm worrying, I cannot simultaneously be of use to somebody else, not in the present moment.
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
that worry could benefit someone in the future, but I don't have access to that timeline. God can plan something like that. I
Mm-hmm.
can't plan something like that. However, I am interested in living a life of abundance now on this recovery journey. I am interested in not being in fight or flight and terrified all the time. So that also means I'm dedicated to the present moment. That also means I'm
Mm-hmm.
willing to put my energy where it can be useful. um, some of the great teachings that we'll get into, very similar to this to the Sermon on the Mount. Um, when have I ever not been able to pay for myself or my family? Like, have I ever not been able to pay for myself or my family? That might be a reality for some of us. For me, it was in the past. But once I committed to recovery journey and got my act together and I was employable at that point. Before, I couldn't really hold down a job. I wasn't
Right.
really employable. But once I plugged into a recovery journey and became somewhat accountable for my behavior, my actions, my words, I have never not been able to pay my bills since. I have
Mm-hmm.
never not been able to pay my bills. And that was one of my early prayers in recovery, one of my early mantras. I have never not been able to pay my bills or take care of myself or my family. I have never not been able to take care of myself or my family. So we start plugging into the present moment and asking God to shine his light on the
Mm-hmm.
fear
Mm-hmm.
surrounding this scarcity. It's important to distinguish as well. There's such a thing as financial insecurity, and there's also another thing as fear of financial insecurity. Those are not necessarily the same thing.
Same. Right.
Yes, that doesn't mean that's the same thing. So I have a lot of fear of financial insecurity, even though all my bills are getting paid. So that would be the opposite of the birds in the air and the lilies in the field. They're taken care of. Why do I
Yes.
think? Why do I think I'm not going to be taken care of? And then it's helpful too. You could crack the ego open. The ego is the part of me that worries. The ego is the part of me that's fearful, that judges, that is in scarcity. You can crack the ego open by with comedy, and one form of comedic relief is well, I don't think God saved you from drowning just to kill you on the beach.
Yes. A hundred
It's like
percent.
he
Yes.
already saved me from the hard part, bro. My addiction was kicking my ass. I was dying. We were in the hospital. We were like as close to death as I ever want to get from my addiction. And so that propelled me forward. That propelled me in a different direction. That propelled me towards seeking solution. And what I found in that seeking was God, was a power greater than myself. Why would that same power want to then kill me on the beach after saving
Mm-hmm.
me?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, he lifted me up out of nothing and I believe wants me to continue down that path, wants me to continue to evolve and grow. If we continue to evolve and grow, we can be of more service to more people.
Mm-hmm. Extending the grace that was given.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I kind of want to get into the scarcity operating system and explain it to people how it's affecting their addiction.
Mm.
as you were saying there. But I got the new iPhone here,
Nice. Is that a
and this is
17?
interesting. Yeah, this is interesting. Uh, they said, would you like to be a part of a beta program? And I was like, yeah, a beta, it sounds cool. I get the latest, newest stuff, and so I downloaded it into my phone, right?
Mm.
Well, my battery started draining really fast, like crazy fast. Well, come to find out, there was a bug in the iOS operating system. So
No
it didn't
way.
matter how many apps I downloaded, it would just drain my battery. If I deleted stuff I was like, something's wrong with my phone. There was nothing wrong with my phone. It was the operating system. And it's the same with us. We've been running on Scarcity OS since our
Mm.
childhood, since our programming, and it corrupts everything. And that's what's created the addiction. And I want to explain the scarcity code real quick, and then I'll hand it over to you. But like hoarding things we don't need just in case. Addicts are really
Yep.
good at that. Driving across town, this is one, to save $2 on gas. And I didn't even realize, Duane, that I was wasting $10 worth of my time
Right. Right.
because I'm not good
Right.
enough. I'm not valuable enough. So that $2 thing had to become an issue because I'm not worthy or I'm not good enough. I have to save this $2. I never even thought about my time as being of something. Um, and then feeling guilty when I would buy something. So when I would buy something, my addict part would come out and it would be like gambling, like the addiction of buying, buying, buying,
Mm.
getting packages, Amazon, everything else. And then no matter how much I have, there's this feeling of never enough. And one of the emotional scarcities that I had was, trying to feel love or feel emotions because I couldn't because I was always so like you said the worry was there and there's a limited resource, like she's going to fuck me over or I'm going to get into a business partnership and they're going to fuck me over,
Mm.
you
Mm.
know and then there was this time scarcity too was I could never rest. I had to keep my nervous system at the fight or flight because I would always have guilt, and it wasn't that I didn't have time, it's that I didn't believe I deserved time.
Mm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh
And
yeah.
and then there's this that addicts always have is this self-worth scarcity. Is that we need external validation to feel okay. I need you to tell me that I'm doing okay. I need you to tell me I need this person to love me this certain way so I feel okay. It's really important for an addict to feel okay. Well, where's that coming from? It's self-worth scarcity. And then this perfectionism. I was trying to be the best employee, trying to be the number one thing. After I got through my addiction and being homelessness, I would just transferred it to this because I had a fear of being found out that I would be a fraud.
Mhm.
That if they knew the real me, they would think, "Oh my God, this guy's all fucked up." And then I always had this voice of like, "Who do you think you really are, Jason?" And scarcity isn't about what you have. And you said this: scarcity isn't about what you have; it's about how you think.
Mhm.
And let me stop right there. I'm going to hand it over to you, and then we'll get into. I have some research from Princeton and Harvard about this that is not woo woo. So, but what do you think about that? Scarcity isn't about what you have; it's about how you think.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, that's phenomenal. One of our other comedic jokes is, my brain is a two-part factory. One part manufactures the bullshit, and the other half buys it.
Mm. Yes, yes,
And so I'm always talking to myself in my head. We call it the itty bitty shitty committee, and
yes. That
and and
that's a
it's
big
it's
committee.
it's hard to quiet that committee down.
Mm-hmm.
It's judgmental, it's worrisome, especially surrounding finances. There are great tools that we have available to us on a spiritual journey, especially when it comes to money. Big problems in life happen in relationships, big problems in life happen in finances, and big problems in life happen in families.
Mm.
And we get to look at all of those areas once we start to recover, and we get to bring our best version of us forward in those areas. Um, it's very extremely helpful, like you said, brother, to initially just start spotting the thoughts. We talk about this all the time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I have to be able to see the crazy thinking. I have to have some part of me that's capable of observing these scarcity mindset thoughts. Again, Eckhart Tolle calls that the observer. Which part of
Mm-hmm.
me knows, oh, that's a scary thought. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's a judgmental thought. Oh, there's a scarcity mindset thought that has to be my soul, that has to be my spirit, that has to be my consciousness. Human beings have different parts, and often those parts don't always communicate well with one another. So I have my ego and I have my spirit. And my ego is the part of me that's terrified or ready to fight or keeping score or judging, and that's also the part of me that says, I can't buy the spinach. It's fucking $3.85 now. It used to be
Ground
two. It
beef.
used to be two. Yeah, don't talk about ground beef, Jay. That's up to shoot. That's almost $20. Used to be 13. You know what I mean? So that's my ego. That's my ego saying, what the
My
heck?
body's not worth $20 to
Yes, yes,
function
exactly right.
properly.
This temple, I couldn't possibly spend $20 on the one meat suit that I get for this lifetime. Uh, so I have my ego, and it is a strategy to get through life with my ego forefront, but it's a losing strategy. That
Mm-hmm.
strategy puts me in fear. That strategy puts me in superiority. That strategy puts me in lack mindset, scarcity mindset, especially around finances. Oh my God, avocados 78 cents. I can't buy that. They used to be 50 cents. I'm complaining about less
Yes,
than
yes.
25 cents, bro. I don't even carry quarters. Like I'm not going to carry a quarter. What the fuck does it matter? But my mind will still go there. So
Mm-hmm.
then there's the spirit part of me. There's the spirit part of me that says, yeah, but you're connected to source. Yeah, but you're
Mm-hmm.
a genuine creator. You could create more money. What's your answer? What's our answer to inflation? Man, everything went up in price. Yeah, our answer to inflation is make more money. You can find
Yes.
ways to be successful. We can channel that
Mm-hmm.
part of us that is all or nothing in the right direction, and then
Yes.
of course invite God in for some balance. That makes us very
Mm-hmm.
useful in business. You know, businesses will
Mm-hmm.
bend over backwards for someone willing to work hard, show up early, do their best, motivate others, and be honest. Are you kidding me? Like, you know how 60% of managers, Jay, cost their business money. 60% are hurt, are detrimental to the business. And those are just the
Mm-hmm.
managers. And that it's higher for normal employees. So don't,
Bro, the CEO of Ford was on CNBC, the stock stuff I watch.
yes.
CEO of Ford, Ford Motor Company. He said this the other day, and I'm going to hand it back to you after this. He said, I have hundreds of job positions open up that are over $120,000 a year, like mechanics or working on the line. He goes, as far as mechanics goes, that we need at Ford, we need mechanics. He said, you know how many people's applied here the last month? Zero.
Jesus.
Think about that,
Yeah.
bro. $120,000, and he can't get anybody to apply. He's like, we're hurting. These factories are needing more and more people. That, like you said, they need somebody honest that'll show
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And the beautiful part about addicts is when we get our shit together, we're perfect employees.
We're the best employees. We
Yes.
lap people. We kind of spin circles around
Mm-hmm.
everyone else because we're
Mm-hmm.
all or nothing. It's like, okay, I'm going to put my best into this. So, anyways, that
Mm-hmm.
would be my spirit. I can channel my spirit in the appropriate way surrounding finances. Obviously, first I have to catch the thought. The thought comes from the egoic mind. Worry about this. If I caught it, then I don't have to go down the rabbit hole with it. I don't have to identify with the thought. The Matt Kahn version is I want my ego to come to my spirit and say, okay, the way I'm doing it isn't working. I will
Mm-hmm.
serve you. Let's do it your way. And then my spirit
Mm-hmm.
says something like, thank you. I will bless you back. And
Yes.
as a result of living a life like this, let's put our heart. You know what? Love is not an emotion, bro. Love is an orientation. Love is how I point at something. So now let's start pointing, let's start orienting with our spirit. Let's start pointing at something with love. Can I point at money with love? Holy
Mm-hmm.
shit. What type of a revelation is that? I had a great spiritual teacher. He told me, Duane, money is just one form of God's love for us. And I
Mm-hmm.
cocked my head sideways. I
Yes.
said, what do you mean? He said, it's just one way to get shit done. Like that's God
That's all it
allowing
is.
you to get something done. And then
Mm-hmm.
I've been so blessed, bro. You and me both to have good teachers in this realm. Again, you take that entrepreneurial spirit and you pray to be hungry, and God will direct you and put you in the right place and with the right people so that you have the right teachers. And then you can educate yourself too. There is great financial literature on how to become financially literate in regards to how money works. A simple tool for us, of course, is send it where the need is. Wherever the need is, that's where I need to send my money. I need fucking gas. It's winter here, and we're going to be in the 30s next week. I need to pay my mortgage. I need to have a vehicle to get to work on time. My kids need to have food. So send it where the need is. I don't necessarily need a brand new watch. I don't necessarily need to be, have all new Nike everything. So start sending it where the need is. If I make that decision enough times, oh my gosh, I have my bank account is starting. I'm starting to have little savings here. What's going on? And that's
Yeah.
super simple. Send it where the need is. So
Mm-hmm.
there are a bunch of little tools here. First, you got to spot it. Then, first, you got to orientate towards the right. You have to have the right orientation towards money. Love is a very powerful orientation. Another great tool is human beings well in quantum mechanics you have a particle and you have a wave. So a particle is matter and a wave is energy, and that energy is carrying information. What information is being carried when I'm thinking about money? Bro, they don't
Mm-hmm.
even let me see it anymore. It's just numbers on my cell phone. I never hold the
Yes.
cash. I never hold the money. Like
Right.
I never see it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's out there in the world doing stuff, generating more income. But the point is, I never even get to hold it. It's all energy now.
Mm-hmm.
Money is energy. And you know what energy is supposed to do? Energy is supposed to flow. It's supposed to flow in and it's supposed to flow out.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to flow. So I don't get very far when I choke the flow of energy with fear. I don't make a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
when I choke the flow of abundance into my life. Oh my God, I'm so worried. This person better hire me. This person better pay me more. I have to get an appropriate orientation so that I can have the appropriate flow of energy. Did you know I'm connected to infinite abundance? Did you know I have an infinite access to blue sky? Excellent tool too. If you're
Mm-hmm.
fucked up with money right now, don't start with money then. Start with something else. What do you have a lot of in your life? I have infinite access to blue sky. Did you know I have infinite access to green grass? Did you know I have infinite access to an abundance of gym equipment? I have an abundance of love for my family. Did you know I have an abundance of love for my dog? I have an abundance of access to a nice vehicle. I can drive to work. So start small so that you get in the appropriate orientation and energetic flow, and then start having that same perspective towards money. And things will change. It's not going to happen overnight, but you have to kind of go down the rabbit hole with it in the appropriate way. Appropriate orientation, appropriate energy. The universe can't help but respond. If you're bleeding into the universe, I'm wildly successful and I'm connected to infinite abundance. I'm wildly successful and I'm connected, but it can't be bullshit. I can't be lying to the universe because
Right.
Joe Dispenza says then it just stops at your brain stem. It doesn't go any further than your brain
Yes. Yeah.
stem,
Yeah.
and it doesn't enter the vortex. It can't get past. Human beings are like a magnet. We're emitting energy all the time. It doesn't come out of my body. It just stops at the brainstem. So it can't be a lie. I actually do have to be feeling abundant. I have to be feeling worthy or successful. And so if you're not successful with money, maybe you're successful with cleaning your bathroom, or you're successful with
Mm-hmm.
driving safely in traffic. Start where you can start. But the feeling does need to be real, and then that will translate into other areas.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. This Princeton and Harvard study I was
Yes,
telling you
yes.
about, both of them, with addiction, they found that the scarcity was the main part with addiction along with
Mm,
trauma. So because we want to numb the trauma. So we do the drugs, we do the alcohol, we do the sex addiction, whatever it is, the gambling, whatever it is to numb. But it stems from the
Yes.
scarcity, because the scarcity impairs our cognitive function. And when our brain is preoccupied with not enough, that consumes all the mental bandwidth. So we don't have
Mm.
any brain power for planning, creativity, or good decision making. All we're doing is running high performance software on this, computer, and we're trying to use all this processing power just to kind of find the next hit, find the next
Yes.
bottle,
Yes.
find the next woman, or man, or whatever it may be. And what they called it is cognitive tunneling. This is really interesting. It's where we can only see the immediate problem, and everything else, our
Yep.
family, our friends, our work. We don't see long-term goals. We don't see our values. That's why we can lie
Mhm.
constantly as an addict. We don't see any bigger vision. All of that disappears into the periphery if you, with the
Wow.
cognitive tunnel. And it's not, and I want people to understand, if you're an addict, it's not that you're stuck. It's not because you're lazy or broken. That's the big one. Everybody thinks they're broken. It's because scarcity is hijacking your prefrontal cortex. And in this
Yes.
scarcity mindset, and we've talked about this 100 times, when you hit that fight or flight, and we're at that level, that super high level that we get addicted to, because it feels good to run from the saber-toothed tiger. But instead, what we're running from is this addiction and this imaginary threats that we've created all around us. And I want to hand it over to you, but Proverbs 23:7 in the Bible says this. I've been reading Proverbs a lot. It's the wisdom book in the Bible. Even if you don't believe the Bible or believe God or anything, Proverbs is a great book because it's just, Solomon, King Solomon at that time was the wisest guy in the world, they said. But he wrote this. He said, "For as he thinks in his heart, so
Mm.
is he." So our external reality is a direct reflection of our internal operating system. And this is cool. That means that we
Yep.
can fix it
Yep.
because, like you said, we're the observer, of it. So if we're running the scarcity OS and we're creating scarcity, even when there's tons of abundance all around us, we can upgrade our operating system. We're not the scarcity. We're not the drugs. We're not the alcohol. We're just operating with this old trauma based, family taught, ancestral operating system that caused us in our high, because a lot of people are high functioning addicts, like in the sense of like, you can talk to addicts and they're super smart. Like a lot of us are we have, like you're super smart, I'm super smart. We've alchemized it, and we're creating abundance and doing great. And most people are
Mm.
that way in their addiction. And I want to talk about the abundance upgrade and upgrading it, but not right now. I want to kind of stay here and talk about, this observer that you just mentioned. Eckhart Tolle said, you're not that, you're the observer of that
Yes.
thought.
Yes.
You're not the thought, you're not the
Yeah.
addiction.
Man, that's man. All right, we're good. We're getting deep now. I love. We're jumped in the deep end. Uh, Scarcity mindset is your scarcity is hijacking your neocortex. That's what you said. Man, that's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. The language that I was taught, but it's the exact same thing. Is I have an obsession for the alcohol. I have an obsession for this addiction, whatever it is that I'm seeking. Um, Basically, an obsession is a thought that will block out all other thoughts. So I can't, my mom's safety doesn't enter my mind when I have an obsession for alcohol. My brother's serenity and graduation party doesn't enter my mind when I have an obsession for alcohol. All of those things are important to me, but they don't matter if they're being blocked out and my neocortex is hijacked
Mm-hmm.
by this scarcity mindset. I have to get what I want when I want it, and when I want it is now. And so we have to get on the other side of that. And first and foremost, that starts with the observer. That starts with, okay, there has to be more to life than this. There has to be, okay, there's got to be,
Mm-hmm.
this is not a way to live. This is a way to die. I scared everyone
Mm.
around me away, and I did the majority of the last years of my drinking alone. And I can tell you guys
Mm-hmm.
from experience, it's heartbreaking to wake up in the morning and ask the people that are around you, what happened? Did I hurt anybody last
Mm-hmm.
night? And it's even more heartbreaking when the answer is yes. Yes, you did. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be around you anymore. And basically, that was happening to me a lot. I was getting out of control with my drinking. I was getting out of control with my addiction. And so we have to reach a point of willingness to be able to tap into that observer. Something has to break. Something has to
Mm-hmm.
kind of, people call it hitting rock bottom. When you hit rock bottom, well, you hit rock bottom when you put
Mm-hmm.
your shovel down and you stop digging. But unfortunately, for us, we have to
Mm-hmm.
go pretty far down in order to be willing to change.
We got
Yeah,
to dig our own
exactly. And it's
hole.
like
Yeah.
pain is a good motivator in that realm. Only the drowning will grab the life preserve. If my life and my happiness
Mm-hmm.
didn't depend on it, then maybe I wouldn't have fucking done it. So I reached a point where my life and my happiness depended on behaving differently. And what needed to happen initially was I needed to start to see, okay, now you're obsessing about alcohol. Okay, there's the obsession.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's the crazy thought. There it is. There's the fearful thought. Bro, I used like brand new sober. I'm talking like first couple weeks, even bleeding into maybe a month or two. Um, I would have panic attacks walking through the grocery store because I knew where the alcohol was. And I knew if I lifted my
Mm-hmm.
head and turned to the right, I was going to see it. And my heart would be beating through my chest. And so we're also given very useful tools in recovery to help manage those obsessions and to help manage the anxiety that arises from the scarcity mindset. We talk about it a lot, and one of the greatest tools I've ever had and still use to this day, not in regards to drinking but just for other obsessive thoughts, is God relieve me of this obsession. God relieve me of this obsession. So again, I choose to use the word God.
Mm-hmm.
It's very useful for me, but it's consciousness, it's shoes of inner being, it's eternal spirit of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's something bigger than me. So that is the power I'm
Yes.
tapping into when I'm trying to catch the thought. I'm trying to get in touch with the observer. I'm trying to get in touch with the
Mm-hmm.
consciousness. God relieve me of that obsession. God relieve me of that obsession. The same prayer is, okay, observer, help me know that's not me. That's the same prayer. I'm saying the
Yes.
same
Right. Right.
thing. It's just what
Yes.
worked for me is
Yes.
God relieve me of that obsession. God relieve me. And so I would hit it like a mantra, bro. I'd say it 300 times just in the grocery store. And I would get to the cash register and I would be checking out and I would pay for everything that I had because, I was a thief in my addiction too. And and then I would make it to my car and I was like, holy shit. Okay. I didn't buy any alcohol. And, it took me 6 months. It took me 6 months of serious, diligent work in the mind, getting in touch with the observer
Mm-hmm.
with prayer and meditation, with mantras, in order to rewire my neocortex. So my neocortex was no longer going
Mm-hmm.
fight or flight, hijack him, and be an obsession. I started to go down a new pathway. And the new pathway I started to go down with was God. The new pathway I started to go down with was, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you can get to the cash register, you can get to your car without buying alcohol. And I had to do that over and
Mm-hmm.
over and over again to rewire Duane into something new. Like you said, we can change it. Cognitive science is very clear that we perceive the world through a story. If
Mm-hmm.
that is the case, which it is, what's the fucking story? Is the story I'm telling negative, negative, scarcity, scarcity? Or is the story I'm telling, man, I got a new lease on life? I get another chance to
Mm-hmm.
be the best version of me. I get to be of service today. The more I focus on positivity, the more positive my life gets. The more I focus on negativity, the more negative my life gets. And that's what we're talking about in regards to upgrading your operating system. My operating system used to be jack shit. It used to be worry and fear and constantly
Mm-hmm.
hijacked. And now once we get in touch with the observer, once we get in touch with us, the part of us that is connected to source, that's the upgrade. The upgrade is no, now you can
Yes.
orient
Yep.
with God. You can come from this from a loving place. Oh my gosh, you can walk through a death without drinking. You could get a new job without drinking. You can leave a job without drinking. Yeah,
Hmm.
we start to
That's so good,
rewire
bro.
and we upgrade.
Yes. And God is abundance, so it becomes this, and I want people to understand this. Abundance is
Mm.
not what Instagram tells you. Abundance is God, and that is a fundamental belief that opportunities are limitless, trusting that we're provided for, like Jesus said, operating from sufficiency instead of lack, because that rewiring, like you were doing, was because there's unlimited alcohol. There's more alcohol than you'll kill yourself with the amount. I mean, just on one
Yep.
shelf at a Smith's or a Safeways or wherever, Vaughn's, wherever you're at, just one of those shelves has Albertsons has more alcohol
Yep.
than you could ever drink in your whole life. You know, so this whole idea of this false sense of scarcity, like I need this, I got to have this, I need to steal something, because I can't afford this because I have no money. you know, we have to have this belief that there's enough for everyone, including you. And I'm not talking about alcohol or drugs. Those are symptoms to something. But it's kind of this whole idea of I have to, I used to always think I have to fight for
Mm.
my piece of the pie. Then with God, I realized I can
Yes.
bake more pies.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking baker. I can bake as many pies as you look at. I remember bro, when were you had like a
Oh
baking
yeah.
phase. Remember that?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was like a year
I
ago or
I
whatever, a
did.
year and a half ago. You were like fucking baking almost every night new shit.
Banana
You remember
breads.
that?
There was pistachio
Yeah.
croissants.
You
Oh
were doing all
yeah. Yeah.
kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, you were just going on and on and on. And one of the things I noticed too with abundance is I would see other people that are successful
Hmm.
and that would threaten me instead of allowing it to
Very good.
inspire me. And the biggest one I think with addicts is I need to hoard. Like you said, where there's energy going and flowing, I can give freely. And this is something that I believe, whenever I understand um, that the worry that I've had has never
Mm-mm.
paid a bill. Worry
Very
has
good.
never paid my rent. And my anxiety never solved the problem. It just made the problem worse. And Jesus said in another scripture in Matthew 6:27, he said this, bro, this is so good. Every addict, you need to memorize this verse, Matthew 6:27. Jesus said, can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? So the answer is no. Worry doesn't
Yes.
add, it subtracts. It steals your mental bandwidth. It steals your peace. It steals your ability to see solutions in your addiction. And this is why I love about abundance, having this abundance mindset, is it doesn't deny problems. It just approaches them from a position of the observer, which is that position of God creative power instead of the satanic, I'm going to use the word satanic,
Yes.
paralyzing fear. Because Satan is the deceiver, right? The Bible says that Satan's the deceiver. He wants to have you in
Mm.
paralyzing fear. He doesn't want you to realize in your infinite when you get past that addiction and you understand who you truly are as an entrepreneur. And one of the things, and I don't want to go too deep in this, but you've
Hmm.
heard of Neville Goddard, right? He was he's back in the 1800s, early 1900s. He said this, and at first I was like, nah, I don't think I could believe this, and he taught about the law of assumption, and he says your imagination
Mm.
is God. And what he meant by this was the creative power within you, your ability to imagine, your ability to assume, your ability to believe,
Yes.
that's all divine. And that's the mechanism that you tapped into for 6 months, which created your new
Yes.
Duane 2.0, your new reality. So every circumstance in your life is a direct reflection, as you said, of this inner assumption that we keep holding. So if we assume scarcity, guess what we're going to experience? Scarcity all around us. There's not enough. I got to get this. I got to steal this. I got to take this from my mom and my dad. And, when it's so funny is, and I'm using it as kind of a joke, we're using humor, when there's so many bottles in every store, there's more alcohol probably than water at some
Way more.
stores. I mean, remember COVID and all that bullshit? How the liquor stores were open and people were
Yeah.
drinking way more. So, if you assume
Mm.
abundance, you'll experience abundance, even when circumstances look limited. And this isn't wishful thinking. This is what you said, Duane, with the quantum, because we don't create what we
Very
want, we
good.
create what we
Yes.
are.
Yes.
And what we are is determined by what we assume about ourselves. And here we're going back to the God imagination. And it's what we,
Yeah.
as you said, think about. So if I assume I'm not good with money, what's going to happen? I'm going to unconsciously sabotage every financial opportunity that ever comes to me, because the assumption has to be correct. If I assume that women will always leave me and they're going to cheat on me and they don't love me and they really don't like me, what happens? I will unconsciously push every single one of those away, because the ego always has to validate, because that's
Mm.
what creates safety in scarcity. It has to validate that false belief. So your subconscious mind gets obsessed, because 95% is subconscious. Our actions, we were born on this one. They said most of your, what is it, when your synapses and everything is in your brain and you're learning the most? It's when we're young. We just absorb everything. We're like a sponge. And then it's like the old tape recorders. You're
I
pretty
remember.
young. I don't know if you remember those or not, but you could
Yeah.
record on a tape, and it was like a tape recorder. That's what happened for 10 years, 13 years, 15 years of your life. You created all that. And then now your subconscious mind is just obsessed with playing that
Hmm.
tape over
Hmm.
and over and over again. And then the ego obsesses, use the word obsess multiple times with addiction. The ego obsesses
Yep.
with being right. So, and I'll hand it over to you, but Neville Goddard said this. He said, don't wish for what you want. Assume
Mm.
the feeling
Very good.
of already having it. Don't say, I'll hope I'll be successful someday. And we do this all the time.
Yes.
Say, I am
Yes.
successful. I'm living from that end right now. And Romans 4:17 in the Bible, the Apostle Paul, he wrote this. He says, call those things which do not exist as though they did. Isn't that an amazing abundant scripture in the Bible?
Mm.
It's the law of assumption. It's in biblical language. This is true. You're not waiting for permission to be abundant. You're not waiting for, something to come and externally get you out of your addiction. If you assume the state of abundance, let reality conform to that assumption. And
Very
that's what you
powerful,
did for
bro.
six
And
months.
it's just evolved from there. That's what you did to transform your life as well. We get to write a new
Mm-hmm.
story here
Mm-hmm.
on being on a recovery journey. And it's so exciting because I get to birth it into existence. It gets to come from me. You know what? A great negotiating tool or a great imagination tool. I love that you talked about the imagination and that being divine. Um, there's no difference between imagine what you would like to have for yourself in the future and without a vision, the people perish. People without a vision perish. So, what's your vision? What do you want to
Mm-hmm.
be? What do you want to turn into? And then the negotiation I have with myself turns into something like, well, you can have what you want, but you just need to know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I start getting clear on what it is I want
Yes.
in my
Mm-hmm.
imagination, in my visions. Writing it down is super helpful. I want to make this much a year. I want to have this type of relationship. I want to be this successful. I want to be able to
Mm-hmm.
travel like this. Get
Yes.
very specific. It's almost like a script. Write it out, put that script down,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
birthing it into existence starts with getting in the vibration of those things, of that abundance, of that type of behavior. It's a pretty selfish question to ask myself. What person is right for me, Jay? What person, what type of girlfriend is going to be good for me?
Mm-hmm.
I want a good girlfriend. I'm looking for the right one. I hope I can find the right girl. That's a very selfish question, looking for the one that, and addicts, are extremely selfish. A better question is, what type of man do I need to be in order to attract a good partner? It's an extremely selfish question to
Yes.
say, well, what is my employer going to pay me? Are they going to value my hard work? Are they going to give me enough vacation time? Are they going to be tyrannical and make me work overtime? Am I going to be their slave? Those are all selfish questions. Why is this? Let's flip the script on it. Alcoholics, addicts are extremely selfish. A better question is, what type of employee do I need to be in order to impress my boss? What type of employee do I need to be in order to get a raise? What
Mm-hmm.
type of employee do I need to be to provide for my family, to not have to be financially insecure? Those are better questions. So as we start to imagine, as we start to
Mm-hmm.
envision what we want for ourselves, this best future forward, call it into existence, like Paul says, we get pretty clear on how I need to perform in my life in order to manifest those things. It's faith without works is dead. I have faith that this is going to happen,
Yes,
but I got
yes.
to take some fucking
Mm-hmm.
action too. I still had to go to the grocery store. I still had to go to work. I still had to maintain my life. Yes, I still had to
And
be
the
plugged in
meetings.
to a recovery community. And so we take action. The
Mm-hmm.
action is up to us, but the results up to God. And I had this vision
So
of what
good.
I wanted to be, when I was new sober. And honestly, I sold myself short. It's even better than what I had imagined for myself 15 years ago. It's
It
incredible. I
always
have a
is. Yes.
family now. Okay, so if
Yes. Yes.
I'm the perceiver of reality, and if I focus on positivity, I get more positivity. If I focus on
Mm-hmm.
negativity, I get more negativity. I want to be really clear on what I'm focusing on. One story, one strategy that is available to me. I have 3 kids. I have a partner. I have a beautiful house. We live this beautiful life here in Albuquerque. But I have 3 kids, bro. They're messy. They're fucking selfish. They're little. They break shit. They damage the house all the time. The youngest is 4. And I had been, getting irritated with all of them recently because of those reasons. And the story I was telling myself in my head was, nobody takes care of this house. Nobody appreciates my hard work. Do you know how underappreciated I?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that
Right.
I'm the
Yes.
only
Yeah. Yeah.
one that is going to pay
Yes.
to fix this stuff? They're breaking all this fucking shit now, and I'm going to be the one that has.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's ungrateful. Nobody
They're
nobody
ungrateful.
appreciates me. They don't understand how hard I work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The 4-year-old
Right.
um,
Yes. Yes.
clogged the toilet. Then that same evening, I'd been like ruminating this bad story in my head. And I took him over to the toilet and I was like, "What did you do? Look at what you did." But shit's overflowing on the toilet. and he's like, "Oh my God." And he's like, I was like, "How many wipes?" He's 6 wipes. I said, "You can't put 6 wipes down the toilet. So what are you thinking?" And I got big, I got loud, my energy was crazy. And I was telling a pretty selfish, pretty bad story in my mind. Look how ungrateful everybody is. He just did what a 4-year-old does. You know what I mean? He made a mistake. And
Mm-hmm.
I was getting very big, very angry. And he started to cry. And it was very apparent to me in that moment. I got like a little window of grace, brother. Like God just gave me this little window in that exact moment. It was very apparent to me. He wasn't crying because the toilet was clogged, he was crying because he let me down. In the Bible that says you
Yes.
must both
100%.
fear and love God. I said, well, how do you fear and love God at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound right. I said, well, maybe you love God so much you fear letting him down. And that was
Yes.
the
Yeah.
energy that I
Destroying the
was
relationship.
receiving from
Yeah.
him. He loved me
Mm-hmm.
so much. He was afraid
Mm-hmm.
of letting me down. And it just broke my heart, bro. It broke my heart that I could be this
Mm-hmm.
monster with this 4-year-old like that. And it was this beautiful window of grace because in that moment, the shit is coming over the walls, and I was like, it's okay, buddy.
Literally.
It's okay. It's just a toilet. I was like, it's okay, buddy. I was like, look, I'll show you how to plunge it. We can fix this. We'll fix this. He goes, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm sorry too. I'm like, even while shit is overflowing in this toilet, I have the power to rewrite my
Mm-hmm.
story. Isn't it a better story to tell myself,
Yes.
aren't I lucky I have a child who cares what I think? Aren't I blessed that I have people in
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
life that are
Exactly.
around me, bro? I have this family. Yeah, they're messy. Yeah, they break shit, but I'm not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have responsibilities in my life that gets me
Mm-hmm.
up and gets me moving. I know I am at work every single day. I know I am busting my ass trying to be the
Mm-hmm.
best version of myself,
Mm-hmm.
trying to help other people. These people, this family that I've been complaining about in my head, they give me more meaning than I deserve. They give me more responsibility than I deserve. And I
Yes. Yes.
wouldn't, yes, I wouldn't have it
I
any
think
other
that's where
way,
Christ
bro.
comes in.
Yes, absolutely.
and the cross.
Yes.
Like we are to be that. So it's like, well, Jesus tried to save them and then they killed him. Well, they, your 4-year-old didn't try to kill you. He just used too many wipes when he shit. But it's kind of like I always go back to the cross, because it resets me
Yes.
every single fucking time. Is like, look what they did to him. That
Right.
why will I
Right.
think I'm anything special? You know, I mean, he brought miracles. I mean, the list
Yeah.
goes on and on. I want to end in this, bro, because I think this is really good, and we're coming up on the hour. I want to end be real practical for everyone that's been patient and listened to us all the way to the end here. Um,
Mm.
the biblical principle of stewardship in Luke 16:10, because this is going to help addicts. Because a lot of people are saying, "Well, I don't even have a job, but I'm homeless or whatever. I got my phone that I got
You
from the
got your
government,
Obama
and I'm
phone, but
listening to
you
this
can hear us.
podcast." Because we're getting a ton, and I want to thank every single. Yeah, we quadrupled
Wow.
our views and stuff on YouTube, and I want to thank everybody for, our YouTube's been going through the roof, and I want to thank everybody for that. But I want everybody to put this verse in their memory. Luke 16:10. Jesus said this: "Whoever is faithful in very little
Hmm.
will also be faithful in much, and whoever is dishonest in very little is also dishonest in much." And bro, this verse is so fire to me because basically what it's saying is your
Yes.
character is revealed in the small things. And your capacity for more is determined by your faithfulness with the little. And I know some of
Hmm.
you guys have little. You don't have anything. But if you can't be disciplined with $10 and go buy
Right.
drugs, you're not going to be disciplined with 10,000.
Right.
You're going to kill yourself with 10,000. And if you let scarcity thinking control your mind when there's some small inconvenience, you're going to let it
Yes.
control when there's a big opportunity. And God, universe, whatever you want to call it, he's
Mm.
testing us in these small moments.
Yep.
And your addiction is just a test. That's all it is. I know you think I'm downplaying it, but it's not. It's a test for you in this meat suit because God felt in this meat suit at this time that you would have it because all things work together for good. Addiction is there to grow you, evolve you, and make you a better human. Maybe not even in this meat suit. Maybe you kill yourself in this meat suit, but the
Mm.
next one you have graduated from that. But it's like the small moments. Do you celebrate when a friend or a family member
Hmm.
wins,
Hmm.
or do you feel threatened? Even with little, do you give generously? Like go pick a flower, from outside and give it to someone? Do you honor your word? Because he said that in Luke 16:10. If we can't even be honest, then how can we? He said in Luke 16:10, and whoever is
Yes.
dishonest in very little is also dishonest in much. You want that perfect relationship, but you can't even be honest in the small relationship that you're in now. So, it's that whole thing. How are we managing our time, our energy, our
Mm.
resources? Are we doing it with integrity? And this in real
Oh
estate,
yeah.
you have to have integrity in real estate because the government will come
Oh
after you
yeah.
quick.
Absolutely.
Because and I want to say this. There was an old guy, James Allen, and I read this book. It's called As a Man Thinketh. And he said this: a man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligently
Yeah.
cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. If no useful seeds are put into it, then an abundance of
There
useless
you go.
weed seeds will fall therein. This is from 1800s, and will continue to bruise their kind. Bro, when I read
Yes.
that, I was like,
Yes.
I'm a gardener of my mind. And it's going to grow regardless. So do I want a garden just full of weeds, or do I want to have a grow of abundance of beautiful flowers and vegetables? And this is the cool part. God gave us free will. We get to choose. Every single moment
Absolutely.
we get
Man,
to
that's
choose.
beautiful. We got to get in there and get out all that, the nasty, overgrown weeds, and start creating this beautiful garden. And then once it was heartbreaking, bro. I figured out I did this major overhaul, got fucking sober, did the mantras, did the prayers, and I cleaned up. I said, wow, look at this beautiful garden. And then little weeds start to sprout back up. It's like, oh, yep, you got it. But I would much rather get in there and
Mm-hmm.
clean up these little weeds, bro, than have to do that big overhaul and rip everything out and start over again. So if you guys are there at that big overhaul point,
Mm.
just dig in, invite God into the process. If God is the most powerful thing in the universe, why not use it? Tap into that power when it comes time to rewriting your
Mm-hmm.
story. rewrite that story around scarcity mindset. I do deserve a better life. I do deserve to get sober and get well. I do deserve this much love, abundance, and success. And the trick for us with that, if you're great with little, faithful with little, you will be faithful with us. The trick for us is, well, the love,
Mm-hmm.
abundance, and success is now. This is the love, abundance, and success.
Yes.
Bro, I'm sober. Bro, we're on a fucking podcast trying to share spiritual principles. Like, we're in it now. We're living
Yes.
the love, abundance, and success. Thank you, God, for this moment. Thank you. Can I be grateful for just this moment? How little is that? Little. If you nail
Mm-hmm.
so the everyday mundane things that we do all the time, bro, that takes up 85% of our normal existence, at least. The rest is, birthdays, deaths, uh, nominal shit, stuff that doesn't happen all the time, weddings. But if I nail 85%, get good at your daily routine. Get good at the 85%. Thank you, God, for a routine. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
God, for the
Mm-hmm.
ability to get up in the morning, to brush my teeth, to get
Mm.
my coffee, to use the restroom, to go to work, to
Yes.
drive safely in traffic. Start nailing the little shit. Start honoring the little moments. If you nail that, you have
Mm-hmm.
85% good life. Do you know how many few people have 85% good
Mm.
life?
So good.
It's fine. All of us are running around in worry in our head, but you guys have the opportunity to rewrite your story. You have the opportunity to heal and to start
Mm.
walking in abundance. It's now. It's in the moment now, and you guys have the tools to do it.
That's so good, bro. Let's end in this. I think this is so good. Philippians 4:19, Apostle Paul, he was he was sending a letter to this church in Philippi. And he said this, he said, and my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus. And I love this because it said, and my God will. It said not my could
Mm,
happen. It said my God will. And when you realize your needs are already met, when you realize that you are already provided for. Jesus said he knows the hairs on our heads, and he knows when a sparrow falls out of a nest. He's like, how much more than who you are as a human, with the soul and a spirit. I know you more than even that, and so you're held. Like, regardless if you're homeless or whatever, I want you to claim this verse saying, my God will meet all my needs according to his riches. And I hate when addicts play small, and I know we love every single one of you too much to let you in your addiction play small. You are not your addiction. Name it,
yeah.
because when you name it, you separate yourself from it. Because you are not your addiction. You are enough, and exactly as you are, even the way that you are right now, dirty, gross. Duane and I's been there. Duane's been on a ditch bloody. I've been on a ditch bloody. We've all done it. So and it's so beautiful, bro. And I'll let you close on this, but the moment you truly believe that, I think the moment that you begin to really trust in God and begin reaching out to him and pray to him
Yes.
and doing these micro works is the moment, like you did with those 6
Yeah.
months,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that's when
It
everything
bleeds into
changes.
everything we do. Guys, you have an opportunity to rewrite your story. Um, Jason and I have your back. Plug into the teachings that are available for you. Check out our other podcasts. We have a course that's available for you guys online as well. Check that out. You can go through the workbook. It'll help with
Mhm.
those daily routines, with daily practice, with scarcity mindset. Um, and go
Yeah,
on the yeah, yeah.
I didn't. I want to tell you this, Duane. You haven't even heard this, but I get DMs all the time from people. So I got one last week when I was in Italy on vacation, and the guy's like, I was an addict. I was having issues. I've been listening to your podcast. So I started, because you just said this. He said, I started a couple months ago listening to your podcast
Wow.
every single day. He's like, I've listened to all your episodes and I'm still listening to them. He goes, I got a window washing job. So what I did was I got these old headphones that I had, and I began to put Recovered Addict podcast on my thing and just
Wow.
listen to it constantly while I wash windows. And he goes, I'm doing an awesome job. Everything's good. He's like, I finally, mended some relationships. He's like, he's living with a partner. He's like, all this happened in just a few months. So it's so
Yeah,
important to, like, we
all
do
day.
this. We listen to teachings constantly, and we're changing lives. Our podcast is changing hundreds and thousands of lives that are out there, and each of you are listening to it. I love those DMs. I love those stories. Would love to get more of those, but we get them like every few weeks, and it's so awesome. And I know you're listening to this, and just appreciate you listening to us, and I'm glad that we helped you and change your life, and that you're back
Guys, we
doing and
love
being
you.
productive in
Go
society.
do it. Go on your recovery journey. It might be the greatest adventure you go on of your life, and it might birth something beautiful. Don't shy away from it. You guys deserve it. So thank you.